everybody. Hope you are having a great long weekend. If you are in Victoria, Melbourne Cup is on tomorrow, so statewide it's very quiet out there in the streets. Here in Melbourne, everyone's having extended long weekends and getting ready for the big race tomorrow, if that's what you like and you follow. So this weekend we have Stuart went away on his own to have a little bit of his own time and de-stress after looking after the kids while we were in the Philippines. Good morning, Viv, Aurelia and Karen and Cindy. This morning I thought, why not talk about planning for success in 2020. But before I do that, let me do my couple of shares in the groups that I normally do, and let me know if you're in Victoria, what are you doing this extended long weekend? So I'm going to be just sharing this across the couple of groups that go live in, and then we'll get hit the ground running for the rest of it. Okay, here we go. One group shared, one more to do, and then we'll get going. All right. Today for us at home, it's mission declutter of the kitchen and the pantry. The last nemesis in the house. I am pretty much nearly all done. Hang on, I've got my mission declutter here, and I've got ticks everywhere. There's just the office. Well, I've already kind of started, as you can see. My books are not behind me, but yesterday I decided I was going to order an awesome backdrop for this room, and I can pack it up and put it away and whatever it is. Just a bit of a change from having all the laminated book covers behind me. So that's on the way. And yes, we've been decluttering the house. We started last weekend on Sunday, and then we resumed on Friday this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think we've got 2 or 3 days to go. And then everything's been gone through and made lots of room and space for a nice clean space, a clear mind, and get things done super organized. And so what I thought today, I talked about mission declutter and decluttering your time, your space, your computers, your phones and all that kind of stuff. But today I want to reverse engineer the process I go through each time I plan for the following year that you might find valuable, and you can get some tips on or add on things that you do. Pretty much we start planning for the next year 6 months into earlier into the previous year, rather than 1st of January. I'm already thinking from about end of July, August, I'm already thinking exactly the things I want to do for a business, for pleasure and all that kind of stuff. Good morning, Megan. Okay, so there's a few different things that I think about when I'm planning, and of course this is why I also bring out the annual planners earlier, because I already start filling out bits and pieces in the following year. And these little planners, not only do they have like the year, like say 2020, but they also have 2021. So when I'm about 6 months into the following year, I'm already kind of looking at what's going to happen in the year after. And so if you've got the 2019 planner, it'll have a 2021, which means even if you haven't got this one, you should be looking at what are the kind of things you want to be doing and not doing and all that kind of stuff. So the number one thing to stop and think about is, a theme. What I love for every year is to think about where is our focus going to lie, and what's the theme going to be for that year. Is it about you taking your business national or international, or is it a personal theme that you're going to aim to buy another investment property for your family, or purchase your dream home, or are you going to focus more on sales, or for us last year it was launching the publishing company, so it was all about setting all of that up and getting really good at it throughout last year, but this year was really establishing it, and it's just it's going beyond my expectations in terms of how awesome we have got it set up and moving along. And then thinking about, what's going to be the theme next year? Where are we going to upskill ourselves? Where are we going to upskill our team and all that kind of stuff? So what is going to be your theme for 2020? Did you have one for 2019, 2018? And if you haven't done that, think a little bit about that, because what you focus on is what you get, to the exclusion of everything else. So where it's going to be your main focus. I had, like, the first time I took my business international, the theme was USA. That's where we were going that year, and literally all our efforts, all our thinking, all of our planning, was focused on that, to ensure that, we were successful and we had a smooth tour over there. So number one thing to think about is, did you have a theme this year? Have you had one in previous years? And could you start creating a theme for the year? So therefore your activities will need to surround that theme, because of course, if you're going to make that something, an area you want to improve on or achieve, it could be a massive goal within that year that you want to achieve, or particularly an area you want to become better at. Do you want to become better at your systems in your business? Do you want to become better at sales? Do you want to become better at outsourcing and developing a team, employing someone into the business? 2019 was intention, to 2020 is abundance. I love those words, Megan, and definitely that's also another way to think about it in terms of a theme. Is there a word that will represent that year for you? But what I strongly suggest, that you also think about an actionable theme. What is the, almost like something that will feel tangible when you have done it. Because of course, a theme of love and abundance and intention is beautiful, but how do we achieve that? So how does that become part of, in order to, so I think that's really high level. How do you chunk it down, that whatever you have got or achieved, will result in abundance? Like, do we want more health abundance? Do we want more, relationships abundance, or do we want more money abundance and financial? So how do we make it more specific and measurable, so that a theme can be then said, yep, I got that, or I did really focus on that, and that's exactly what my year was about. So number one is thinking about the theme. So the second thing is, when I open my 2020, all in the pipeline, exciting. When I open my plan, and I usually like to work on planning. I like to, again, you're starting with the big picture, and you're working yourself backwards into the smaller chunks of what the whole year would look like. And then you can translate things into the pages, bit by bit as they go through. So the next thing to think about is, you need to figure out, and we talked about this a week ago when we were talking about decluttering. What are the things you should stop doing? What are the things you should start doing? And figuring out how they slot into your calendar. Now, I know a lot of people that obviously follow me and learn from me, my authors and all that. I know you guys a lot of you want to run an event style business. So when it comes to events, it's super, super, super important that everything is scheduled and ordered well in advance, because you need such a you need to plan what's the lead up going to be. You don't turn up and think about hosting an event 2 weeks before the event. It's usually a process that's months in advance, especially if those events then lead into something else where you want people to come along and work with you in a deeper manner. So what we tend to do when we open up the New Year's planner is, the first thing that we do is we block out all our holidays. Well, actually what I do, the first thing I do before blocking out family holidays is I block out the school holidays for our state. And where they start and where they finish, because of course I know around that particular time, I know it's not so good to do events, well, for my particular business, and also I know that I'd want to hang out with my kids a bit more, so that's where we'll slot in also family holidays. So the first thing is to open it up, slot in the school holidays if you have kids, and the second thing is to slot in the family breaks and when you're going to go away and all that sort of stuff. And we have a pattern now with worked out over the years that we take a big break in the middle of the year, because generally our first half of the year is way busier than the second half of the year. It just seems so much more intense, the things that we do, like Feb, March, and all the way to Easter. And after we finish the May retreat, we really need to feel like we need to recharge and just step away before we come back and go for round 2 of that particular year. So slot in your holidays. Even if you don't take extended breaks, it's really important that you block out either some weekends, some long weekends, or whatever it is, and have that recharge time where you're going to be able to, recuperate and come back and do it all over again. All right, so the second thing was holidays that you schedule in. The next thing is, are you part of any groups, associations? Do you go to any regular conferences for the year? Those kind of things, will you, ahead of time, with my PT, I booked for a wellness and health retreat next year, straight after, when is it? Straight after, it's for during my birthday, but after our retreat. So it just kind of ties in with that half-year break. Are there any things like that you regularly attend that you need to slot in first, because maybe other things will fit around them, and you might be able to block in other stuff that needs to go if you're traveling somewhere else. After that is any large events that you host. So for us, we slot in the retreats. We always know we've got Feb, May, August, November retreat. Therefore, we slot those in, because we need to work then backwards of what leads into those, and then our smaller events come around that. And every year, especially if you're an event-based business, I suggest that you learn from the year before. What is it that you did? Where did you go that maybe it didn't work, so maybe you need to drop that off? Did you make any mistakes around what's not a good time to go to this particular location? So every year I have learned more and more about which are the months and the places and the times, and to be very mindful of other interstate school holidays do not match up with the Victorian ones, to be very mindful that when I'm choosing and booking places, that kind of stuff gets allocated. And then start to think about, what will you have, what education and training you might need to upskill yourself, especially when it comes around the theme for the year that you have chosen. So those are the things that we look at. We block out also the public holidays are in the yellow highlights there, and wherever school holidays start and finish, we mark them over there. So that's what my 2020 looks like. Every time I look at it, and this you're going to probably feel when I look at a year after I have planned it, I look at it and I get overwhelmed, and I go, oh my God, seriously? I'm going to do this all over again. But then I just stop myself, and you go, you know what? Every day we just take it one day at a time. And there's times when we get really, really, really busy. And there's times that there's like just a complete, disconnect and flow and like family time and all that kind of stuff. It may look busy on paper, but again, you're looking at a whole year all at one glance. Now, the other stuff that you need to stop and think about and really bring awareness around, and some people choose to ignore this, is how well or what did you do for the year in terms of your revenue in your business. So we're talking, I know this relates to personal life, but very much because most people who watch these lives are small business owners, how well do you know your numbers? What are your income streams? So I love teaching people how to predict and plan for income streams and what the outcome is. So at the back of my little planners, I have like income stream goal sections, and then the breakdown for what your 2020 may look like. So generally small businesses or whatever business might have a few different things that they offer, and they sell. It could be products like books or manuals, or it could be speaking revenue fees, or it could be an online program, it could be a bigger program, one-on-one, whatever that is for you. Really you should be tracking it. I used to track it at the back of my planner just manually. I'd write down, if I got a client, where did they come from, what are they doing, what that is, even though, of course, the accounting system tracks stuff like dollars and all that sort of stuff, but you can just see more at a glance what things look like. We moved across to an Excel spreadsheet now because, of course, the team can add stuff and we can look at it together and have it more electronically rather than manually. Of course, if you're a solopreneur, you can track it, manually for yourself. But the minute you have a bigger team and more people in place, things need to move more online so everyone can access those same files and add on to them or amend or whatever it is that needs to happen. So that's what we do. And so you stop. First of all, you stop and you look at what is it that you have done this year. So what did you have for sale, and what was the total? How many what is the revenue per client, and how many clients did you get? So from there, you can go, okay, well, this is the reality check. Now, what I need to do is figure out where do I want to get to in the next 12 months. Will I be bringing in something completely brand new? Do I just want to do better on the numbers that I did from the year before? Because sometimes people can just have these really far-fetched goals that are so big and so massive, and then they get super disheartened when they don't achieve them, yet they haven't stopped and looked at how far will you stretch, and how much are you willing to do to achieve those new results. I think in another way, though, sometimes it's really good to set that stretch goal that is still realistic, but you can see that it's possible. So start to understand and reverse engineer your numbers. Reverse engineer that everything that happens in your business. If I do this, if I speak in front of a group of 50 people, what normally happens? Do 7 of those 50 people inquire further to have a conversation with me, to try out my services, whatever it is? And maybe 2 of those people progress and then become my client. If I host this event and 15 people come, and I make this offer, what's generally my conversion rate? So start to really document those numbers, because then you can make more predictable, more predictions about where you will get to moving forward and what are the numbers, and what does that equate to. I normally like to set numbers in terms of how many people would I like to help publish or write their first book, how many people do I want to help through my publishing arm of the company, how many books do I want to sell for the year. So I kind of am working on people and books and all of that kind of stuff, and the revenue just takes care of itself. It's all one number turns into another number. It's all very easy to convert, but I'd like to think, the way I like to think about it is more people rather than the dollars, because if I can help as many people, that'll convert and create a viable business. Don't underestimate. A lot of people tend to underestimate how many leads and prospects they need to speak to. Good morning, Adrian. How many people and prospects they need to speak to in order to create the clientele they want in their business. So normally, whatever you think, then good morning, Beck. Then 10 times that for yourself, and know that it's going to be a lot harder. That's one thing. I did a live on this, like the things that I wish I knew that I know now back at the beginning. But I guess if I had known, sometimes, what they say, if you had known, you would have never started. And one of the things I talked about in that particular live is actually how much I underestimated that, how many people I would need to speak to and how many no's I would have to get before I would get the yes. And, that was one big lesson and learning for me. And that's what a lot of people underestimate. And this is why it's super important to never stop marketing and promoting your business. And even if you have enough clients, for now. The turnover, some clients finish working with you and then it results to a new wave of clients to start working with you, but you need to continuously generate that interest and to create that flow in the business. If you want it to be a well-oiled machine, that's something that remains sustainable for decades on. And I have to say that in about 6 months' time, we will be celebrating a decade in our business, and that's all a result of really, really meticulous planning, decision making, risk taking, figuring out what to stop doing, what to start doing, and how to balance it all so that it doesn't take over our lives, because we start in business to create flexibility and a lifestyle around everything that we do. So that should be always that ultimate goal, is how do I create the flexibility and the lifestyle around all of this so that it works well with my family, my friends, I'm enjoying, when I am running my business, I'm enjoying working with the people that I'm enjoying with. That's the most important thing. So holding that in your head. Now, the other thing for planning is really important is that you guys also review and have a no dickheads policy, right? So what is your no dickheads policy in your business? What does that look like? So back in my, we generally review this one. So this is not one that we do super early, but if you've never done it, do it right now. But we generally review this in the first week of January and rewrite it. So this is my 2019 planner. There's my, it says dream client description, but at the top it says no dickheads policy, because truly is that. So who do you want to attract? What do the people like to work with? What are their behaviors? How do they make decisions? How do they treat you? How do they communicate with you? Do they succeed and follow and remain coachable with everything that you do with them? Do they pay you on time? So what does that look like? What does that ideal client, and what does your no dickheads policy does not allow? What kind of people don't you want to work with? I tend to focus on more what I want to attract in my life rather than what I don't want, because then generally the things we don't like if you figure out what are your pet peeves, then right on the opposite of that. This is how I want them to be, because it's really important that we always say what we want, because our subconscious mind does not recognize negatives. If you say you don't want this, generally it will give you the this at the other end of it. So review, write, if you haven't written one before, a no dickheads policy, and then rewrite it and rejig it every 12 months, because as you grow, you will find that you will discover other things that become pet peeves, or things that you won't put up with anymore, and other stuff that you want to get better at. And it's not just only good for who you're attracting and setting the intention out there, but it's really, really important for you understanding what your standards are and how you operate in your business. So every business will have this as a different thing for themselves, but it's really, really important that you look at it and take stock, because the best place we learn about how to get better and how to evolve our business is when we stuff up and we make a mistake, or we let someone into the system that we shouldn't have let into the system. And the last thing I'm going to say, things are going to change, and people are going to come in and out of your system for particular reasons. People who come in, they're a good match, and those people who maybe fall out of it, change their mind or whatever it is, maybe it wasn't a good fit, and maybe the universe is just protecting you from someone that maybe would have not passed no dickheads policy. So just know that there's waves and there's seasons throughout the business. There's going to be a period where feels like nothing's working, and then there's going to be a period where you have a snowball effect. That happened to us in the last 12 weeks. about 6 or 8 weeks ago, we had this period of, we met a lot of people, we spoke to a lot of people, and we just hit no after no after no after no after no. And I go, oh my God, I've lost my touch. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, maybe the stuff that I do doesn't work. I always try to find our little mind or our ego starts to, play tricks on us. And the thing that I've learned over 10 years is to keep showing up, keep turning up, keep getting up and doing it all over again. Because I don't know, maybe you guys are not aware, but I know people in my secret community are aware, because in the last 10 days, we have welcomed over 20 new clients. And that was a snowball effect in just 8 days that occurred, because you know what? We didn't throw in the towel. We didn't stop doing what we know works. Yeah. We kept turning up and getting up. And even though we felt like we were beaten by, whatever wave of energy was happening, like say 6-8 weeks ago. But then on the other end, everything what I have found at the end of every year evens out. There's always this kind of motion of what goes on. But when I look at the year as a summary and actually review what has gone on, it all averages out, as they say, the universe likes to create equilibrium. There's just as much good as there is bad and all that kind of stuff. So it was very, very interesting to observe that. But the most important thing you got to remember is, how are you going to turn up in the times when things are not going your way? Yeah. For me, it was like, thankfully, what I find helps is I talk to Stuart and he talks to me, and we just keep talking. Just keep talking. What does this mean? Do we need to change how we do stuff? How can we get better? Or do we remove this? Or how do we adjust it? So having someone to speak to, it is really helpful. But as I said, the most important thing is to have the courage to get up, show up, do it again, and keep putting it out there. Please don't flog a dead horse if a certain thing has not worked for you. I'm talking more of the perspective when you've had certain things and outcomes from something that has worked, and it just stops working for a period of time, or just something happens, maybe just the right people are not in the room, or whatever it is. It's really, really important to just keep showing up, because we don't need our mindset when we're on top of the world and things are like flowing and we're in flow, in the zone, if you like. When we need our mindset and the tools and the ways to, overcome, it's when we feel like we're in that space of scarcity and adversity and and just being able to manage all the rejection along the way. Sometimes you go, how many times can a person get told no? And but that's the thing. To be successful, you're gonna have to swallow a lot more no's than yeses. And then when it's amazing, just celebrate and reap the rewards, and just understand that everything comes in waves. So I do hope that some of these tips have been valuable. So let's summarize. So we talked about theme, having a theme for the year, not just the word that represents a feeling of abundance, which is what Megan shared, or intention, but something that's also creates an actionable, practical, and if I do this, then I'm going to get that word, so chunking it right down. We talked about blocking out and taking out that annual planner and working backwards, like starting off from, if you have kids, noting down the school holidays first, then your family holidays, then working backwards from bigger events, any conference that you attend, anything that you're a member of that you've got to be there for, put those things in. And then we talked about, breaking down your income streams. So what is it that you sell? What have you done this year? And doing sales tracking throughout the year of what it is that you do. So breaking it right back down to, what happened and what's likely to happen. Setting a little stretch also is amazing, because so what if you don't get your stretch goal, but you get 85 to 90% of that, that's still freaking amazing. And then we talked about a little bit of the mindset and the waves of what happens throughout the year, and the courage for you to turn up. no matter what, you know, and overcoming that rejection and understanding that you're going to have a lot more no's to swallow over yeses throughout your business and life, you know. So I hope all of this has been valuable. If you haven't got yourself a 2020 planner, these are gone, the little pink ones. These are A5. I do have some A5 blacks, and then we've got A4s in the black and pink. I'll post the link up on the comments. The planner starts end of November, so literally we're only 25 days from each beginning to be able to be used. That's why I'm like kind of always carrying the two now. Can't wait to transition to the just one. So I'll post that up there. Do your planning. There's actually a couple of extra webinars that I've done on these topics in the beginning of the planner. There's like bit.ly links here, which is really good to review as to why I have designed this the way I have designed it and what are the little spots and places. And so that's me for another Monday morning. Let me know if there's certain things that you do in order to plan out your following year, because I would love to know some extra tips and tricks. I'm always looking for new insights and distinctions when it comes to planning. And if you're in Victoria, keep enjoying this extra extended long weekend. I'm getting back to it after my first couple of lives. We've got mission declutter to complete and finish. Put some more ticks on this list, and the skip is coming at the end of this week. So we're really set. We've done this a month earlier because we're going to the US for a white Christmas. And of course, when we come back, we're going to be ready to hit the ground running for 2020. But for now, it's time to reap what we've sown and to enjoy, you know, some of the off-season when it comes to events. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you same time, same place next Monday. See you guys. Bye.